you're kind of looking at the ceiling. So let's come on down a little bit. Hello, everybody. I am here to talk about Project Dress a Girl, and I know that my viewers have heard me talk about it. I participated last year, and I made 15 dresses last year in 1 month. My goal was to do that again plus 5. So my goal was to do 20 dresses. I've done 5. And that's going to have to be all I make between a repetitive motion injury to the wrist that's taken me down this past weekend to having COVID earlier in the month. So I'm sorry, this year there's only going to be 5 dresses. So maybe I can do better next year. The first thing, hey Linda, I want to talk about is pattern options. Now, I don't know all of the names and things for who's offering the free patterns, but there's several YouTubers and pattern designers that have offered up free patterns. And the one that I used this year, you get a PDF that you have to print off and you have to tape it together and stuff. But I got the JD Desiree Allison Tint dress pattern here. And all you had to do is put in a code that Mary Motti has for to get it free for this month only. And then she's going to have a discount code because this dress she also has in adult sizes because Motti has made this dress for herself. So if you want to see what that looks like, you might want to visit her channel. But I made one dress like this. It is quite labor intensive. So I'm going to show you that little dress first. And I made the smallest size, which I think is a 2 to 3 year. And let me see. I took all of these over to my mother-in-law. She's going to be 95 next month. And I take my stuff over there because it's hard for her to get in our house because we have steps up with no rail and she just can't do it. So I just took everything over to show her. So here's the little Allison Tint dress here. And what I did is because Pam and I and several other people noticed how narrow that neck opening was. And I actually measured it and it was only 16 inches around. And that's like a brand new newborn tiny baby. Smaller than my son was because my son's head was like 21 inches around when he was born. Something crazy like that. So I just cut a little bit and bound it and put a tie on there. So that it can be tied, closed. But it's just a little dress. And you have to put the little Project Dress a Girl labels on the front. They usually say put it on the pocket, but this little dress has side pockets in the side seam. So there's just a little pocket in the side seam. Yeah, she did. She was so thrilled. She said, those look like they're store-bought. She kept telling me, they look like they're store-bought. So this was one of the free dresses. Now I know there's another young woman. She's done a free little girl dress pattern for each year that we've done this. So she did one last year and then she did one this year. I did not get that free pattern yet. I need to see if I can snag it up before the end of the month. So there's that. Now, as far as other patterns, first I'm going to show you the patterns I used. And then I will show you some other patterns that would also work for Project Dress a Girl. For anybody that's not participated in Project Dress a Girl before, they cannot have let me put this way. They cannot have closures like buttons, snaps, zippers. They can't have any of that because a lot of these little girls, this may be their only brand new piece of clothing that they get. Their mother may not have needles and thread to like sew a button back on, so you don't want a closure that they cannot fix. If a zipper fails and they don't have zippers or a sewing machine or anything, it's useless then. So they always say tie closures, no ribbon. Do not use ribbon as your closure, because ribbon has a tendency of working itself loose and coming untied. So they want you to use bias tape or regular fabric for your ties. Okay. What else? It needs to be of a modest length. So you don't, this one looks short, but it's for a 2-year-old. So it'll come down to their knees at least. So you want it to come, down to knee length or lower. And they take sizes from like the 2 to like size 12. So from what I understand, the lady that's collecting our dresses, she is in desperate need for sizes 10 and 12 dresses. I didn't make any in those sizes, so I will keep that in mind for next year. Okay. So let me talk about I used 2 different patterns this year. Well, actually a combination of this year and last year on one of them. So let me show you the first pattern I used. It's called McCalls. It's so simple. This one was at Walmart not in any drawers or anything. You know how they have those racks with the pockets on it? So this was style number L9512, and it's supposed to be in bin 113. So that's the little dress. I made this one right here, and it shows ties on the shoulder, and I thought that would be cute, and they could adjust it. But that's not how this dress worked. The ties are separate, so I didn't put the ties on the dress. I mean, you could put the ties on if you wanted to. I cut them out. And then when I realized they weren't functioning ties, they were just tied around the straps, I said, forget it. I'm not doing it. So I made 2 that look like this. Let me show those to you real quick. They were the first 2 I made. So here's this one. And it's got bias tape around the neck and the arms. I put a little lace on the front so they know front from back. And it's got the little pockets. And on these pockets, there's a little piece of elastic in the top, inside the top where you turn the pocket in. There's a little bit of elastic in there. And what that does is it gathers it. So the pocket kind of bunches in and stays closed, so they could put something in there and it's not going to fall out. It does have the Project Dress a Girl tag, and lesson learned, sew those tags on before you put the pocket on the dress. Put the pockets on the dress before you sew the dress up. I learned it's difficult to do any of that if you do it in the wrong order. So put your label on your pocket, put the pocket on the front of the dress, then sew the dress. So I put a little ruffle on it, and because these little girls might be washing their dresses and everything like in a river or on rocks or something, I did cover where the ruffle attached to the dress. I covered that where it's got all that raw edges. I covered it with bias tape for longer wear. And if I'd had more bias tape, I could have put it where the yoke attaches to the skirt, but I didn't on these. I ran out of bias tape. So there's that one. And then the other one that I made like that is this one with the sea turtles. And again, I put the lace so they know this is the front. And the little pockets with the label and the ruffle. And then I put the bias tape there. And I got this funky bias tape off Etsy. And the girl that does this, she makes some really cool looking bias tape. This is double fold bias tape. So what that means is you have your piece of bias cut fabric, and you'll turn the 2 sides to the middle, and then you'll fold it in half. That's double fold because you folded it in and then you fold it on yourself. Now, single fold tape will work as well, but what you'll do with single fold is you'll fold the whole thing in, and you would end up with a finish like this, where you wouldn't see the bias tape on the outside. It would only be on the inside. That's the difference between double fold and single fold bias tape. So this one I think is my favorite because I just love the sea turtles. They make me so happy. I just love it. I hope Maddie will like that one. I'm sure she will. All right. So then the last design that I did was one I actually thrifted. And I have made a size 5. Those two little dresses are size 5. And then the last two are size 5. So I have 4 size 5s and 1 size 2-3. So I didn't get any made for the big girls. But I did View C, which is this little dress here. And I think at Goodwill, I don't remember what I paid for this. It wasn't much. I took the sticker off. But this pattern is from 1994. It is Simplicity 9020. It might still be in the books, but they might have given it a new number. Sometimes they do that. They'll bring an older pattern back, but give it a new number. So if you just look for the little dresses, this dress was so easy, you guys. So easy. I had thought about doing a sew along for this dress. If anybody's interested in that, I can do a sew along and I'll just keep that dress for next year. So I have this pattern and you'll notice it doesn't have any pockets. So I went to the pattern from last year and I snitched the heart-shaped pocket pattern piece. I don't know if I probably put it back because this is the pattern I used. Yeah, there it is. I pulled this pattern is another oldie. This is the pattern I made all my dresses. This year I wanted to mix it up, but last year they were all this pattern, which was a McCalls number 2004, and it was printed copyright 1999. And you'll notice it has little heart-shaped pockets that you can't really see, but they're in the line drawing. So what I did is I took that heart-shaped pocket pattern, and then I took the skirt pattern from this one, and I just kind of lined it up with the skirt pattern from this one to get my pocket placement. Because when you put the heart-shaped pockets on, they actually go on a slight angle when you sew them to the skirt. So that when the skirt does the drop and fall, you know, when you stand up, the pockets will be straight. So let me show you what those two dresses look like. And I think everybody else really enjoyed these little dresses here. It's gotten a little wrinkly. It'll get wrinkled as it's mailed to Maddie anyway. So there's the little heart pockets. And there's the one with the label. And I always make them double layers so that they'll last longer. And they're not as, you don't get that raw edge inside your pocket. If you sew your two pieces of pocket together, right sides together, leave a little opening toward the bottom of the pocket, turn your pocket right side out. If you're doing heart-shaped pockets, it's important to clip the curves and down in this little indentation where the two halves of the heart come together so that you'll get a smooth rounded edge. And this is the top on this pattern. The reason I loved it so much is it's totally lined. And you cut two of each colorway here. And then I just made the skirts a different color. And the pockets are both colors from the top because I just chose one to be inside. And I thought the Project Dress a Girl label would show up better on the light purple. And I really wanted those to be visible because that is the key to this whole project, is these labels make it visibly clear that these little girls are looked after and loved and that they're not to be approached for any type of monkey business, put it that way. So I did that one. And then the last dress I made this year is this one. And this is strawberries, and this is a red with a white dot. And then this just has little leaves, and it's really a fuchsia pink. And then the strawberry fabric and the red fabric were thrifted fabrics. I bought them at Goodwill out of one of the bins. I washed them real good, and then I shopped my stash, my quilter stash under my bed for the bottom. So that is all the dresses for this year. Now, if you want to keep in mind for next September, so we can help Maddie knock it out of the park again, she said Sunday that we were already at 1,100 dresses. And the year before we did just under 900 dresses. So if she, every year, I know Maddie, I know she's going to want us to really knock it out the park. So that's why I thought I would share a few more patterns that I've come across that would work for this project. And they might be some that you might want to keep your eye out, because some of these are ones I thrifted. Like this one I got from Goodwill for 99 cents. And it is Simplicity 1379. It is let me look at this. It calls for a button. So they're wanting you to put a button closure at the back. But you could leave that off and do like I did on the Allison Tint dress and just sew a little bias tape, leaving tails that they could tie. You could do that. And the reason I absolutely love this one is look at the size of the pocket on that one. And if you sewed that straight up the middle on the dress, she'd still have two pockets, but they'd be together. But you can also do separate pockets. In this one, not that I would do this for, this project, but there is an option to make a little dress for an 18-inch doll. So I just love this pattern. This is one that I could make for my nieces, but I don't know if it's in their size. This is size 3 to 8. So that's one. And then I've picked up a bunch of others. This is a Burda pattern. If I remember right, Burda is a German company. But this one has elastic neckline. You put elastic in the casing and on the sleeves. That is an acceptable closure. In fact, Maddie has received a lot of dresses in this form. This one also has the heart pockets. It's Burda 9438. So I'm going to try to do one of every single one of these patterns I'm sharing with you guys. Anywhere it calls for that single button business on the back, you can do the bias tape thing and have a tie closure at the back. This one's another one that's really cute. And it comes with a matching tote bag. And you can do that. You can send a tote bag with them too. Just pin the tote bag to the dress with a safety pin, not a regular, like a sewing pin. You don't want to do that, because if there's ladies sorting these dresses, we don't want them to get stabbed with anything. Okay. But it would be cute to have a little bag. Some of the ladies are making drawstring bags to match the dresses. And then inside the drawstring, they might put a bar of soap and a pair of panties or underwear for the little girl. But I thought how cute that would be to make a little matching bag to go with it and just safety pin it to the dress so they know they go together. Now, these dresses go to impoverished countries. They go to little girls in need in the United States, even in Canada. They go all over the world. Okay, they also go sometimes into the shoebox program. At Christmas, the shoe boxes. Sometimes they'll add one of these little dresses to a little girl's shoebox. So they get utilized all over the world. This is a fabulous project. I just love these. And this is Simplicity 8101. And the reason I thought this one would be so much fun to do is you can combine all these different fabrics. And that would help me, because I'm getting down in my stash to where I don't have very many big pieces of cotton anymore, but I do have smaller than a yard pieces in my quilter's cotton collection that I could combine together and make cute little dresses like that. So take pattern covers as just a place to get ideas as well. If you go and you look through a pattern catalog, you can just go and look at the catalog just for ideas and utilize patterns you already have. You don't always have to buy a pattern. If you have a couple little girls' dresses, look at it and say, hey, maybe if I cut that pattern in half, like on this one, okay? If I cut this like midway and then added a seam allowance to the top and bottom of the two pieces so that I'd have a seam allowance to join them back together, I could make this two-tone. You can do all kinds of stuff. And if you watch Maddie's openings of the dresses as they're coming in, the ideas that you get from watching her are just, oh my gosh. The ladies working on this project blow my head off. I mean, it's literally, they're wonderful. All right, here's another one. McCalls M7709. This one's got cute little pleats on the front. It's just a darling little dress. This one is just a pullover. They do want the dresses to be made of cotton. So this one I might have to look at real quick and verify something here. This one's calling for cotton knits. So this one might need some stretch. This one might not work for what I plan to do. Although it might, if I cut a little keyhole, the little opening at the back, if I cut that and added ties, I'm thinking this might still work. The only reason I'm worried about it is if it's suggested for knits only, it might not stretch over their heads. This one might be one I'd like to do a little dress up just to see how it works up and see how tight that is. All right, this one would definitely work. This is McCall's 7768, and they show using ribbon, but the program asks you not to do that because the ribbon doesn't stay tied. So you would want to use some of the same fabric. You could use ribbon to decorate the skirt like they did here, but you wouldn't want to use ribbon for the ties because they do that satin ribbon. It just will untie and then the little girl's dress would fall down. That's not good. Or you could do this top that's just a yoke. That would be the most secure and modest way to do this. But either of those dresses are lovely. And then I've got some that are smaller. And this one, again, calls for a button at the back, but you can do ties. Isn't it cute? It's Burda 9338. And what I'll do is I'm going to list these patterns in my description box as ones I recommend. This one is another one that has the little keyhole at the back where you'd have to just switch it from button to a tie closure. Simplicity S9120. There's Maddie. I'm sharing all these patterns that people could use. I've hurt my wrist. It's just getting better, so I'm not going to get very many dresses in this year. But I'm preparing for next year. This one, the next two look like I've bought the same pattern, but I haven't. They're slightly different. But the company has used the same pattern on the little girl. So here's this one. This is Butterick B6887. This one again, let me see. What does it do? What does it do at the back? Now, you couldn't do A or B because it has an invisible zipper in the side, I think. I think that's what they're saying. I don't know. But this one looked like it would work for it. And sometimes if I can find one that will definitely be a pullover style that has some sleeves, because some of these dresses might end up needing to go to a colder climate. They're not all going to go just to warmer climates. So I am in the search for a pattern that has sleeves. And I think that is why I grabbed this one, because it has these delightful puff sleeves that I think it looks like it crosses over at the front, so it would open up a little bit. So I will get back to you guys on this one as to whether I think it would really work for the project. But yeah, this one is one I really want to try out. And then here's the other one. Like I said, it's going to look like it's the same because they've used the same fabric. But this is B6887, and it's got a nice square neckline that I thought would work perfect for this project. And the ruffles and all of that just make a little girl feel special, don't you guys think? And look, they've added a ruffle with rickrack on this one. So yeah, that one's definitely, like I said, I'd love to make one of every single style I have here to just get me started for next year. And this one I had pulled out because I got some fabric when I was thrifting. But Maddie said this year they're not collecting for little boys, but I have some very little boy themed fabric in my bag of fabric that's I've set aside for Project Dress a Girl. And I was thinking of some little pants like this with these big pockets on it. So if the organizer ever gets to where she's going to take the little pants, just let me know, Maddie, because I can make up some little pants. I think we don't have an organizer at all in South Carolina, but I might look for a program that takes things for the little boys as well. Because how cute was just some little shorts with great big pockets? You know, boys would love that. So yeah, maybe do the little shorts with a matching bucket hat. Wouldn't that be cute? And then I could find some t-shirts on sale and maybe shove the t-shirts in one of the pockets, and it would be a whole outfit. So Maddie Sews, they're in the chat, you guys. She's the one that's doing all this business. So anyway, I will take the time after I sign off, and I will list these patterns in my description box below, so you can just copy and paste and print them off. If you want to participate in Project Dress a Girl, we are in the final week. You have until the 30th. Is it the 30th? 30th to sew and get your pictures on Instagram with hashtag Project Dress a Girl 2022. And you have to have them to Maddie by the 6th. I think I got that right. And yeah. I'm going to do a sew along for the one little dress that I told you about. This one here. So I'll do when my wrist is totally 100%. I'm really not wanting to strain it anytime soon. So Project Dress a Girl, that's all the info I have. And now I can box these up so they can go to Maddie so she can open them next Sunday. And Janet, thank you so much for sticking. Okay, Maddie says to ship them to her by the 8th, no later. Woohoo! And there goes Tippy, strutting his stuff. And you can see the green and the pink on the chair back there is for a watermelon dress. So if my wrist gets a little better, I might sneak and sew one more dress that'll come separate from these others. I'll let you know. You'll see it on Instagram if I manage it. All right, guys, I'm sorry if I missed anything in the chat. I just wanted to get all the info out there for this last week. So you guys take care, and I'm doing the best I can to get myself well. Wednesday, knock on wood, we will be doing our mini owl. We're going to do a little owl on Wednesday. Think journal charm size. Okay, guys. All right, I'm going to start designing it on paper, and I will put the pattern on my community tab Wednesday morning if I get it pulled together. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.